Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles and on this episode we're walking in Memphis. Topic of this Walking in Memphis, USWA from February 1st, 1997. If you want to watch the video that I reviewed for this, it'll be down here in the description. If you haven't seen my shows before, I rate everything on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 is the worst, 5 is the best. For Walking in Memphis, we consider it from segment to segment, basically commercial break to commercial break. With that being said, let's jump right into it. Right off the bat, we get JC Ice of PG13. At this point, they were part of the Nation of Domination, which will be a reoccurring theme all through the show. JC Ice pretends like he wants to repent, calls out his father, Bill Dundee. Bill Dundee comes out, hugs JC Ice, and Wolfie D comes out and attacks him from behind. They make fun of Bill Dundee and walk off, which sets up right into a match for JC Ice versus SuperHysteria, a masked wrestler at the time. This was an okay match. Wolfie D attacks pretty early into the match, so basically much of nothing. SuperHysteria picks up the win by disqualification. You are going to see that as a reoccurring theme, spoiler alert. For that, the promo, which I think was better, the attack, which I think was better, but the match, not so much. I'm giving that segment a 3. Next up, I got really excited for this. It was Wolfie D versus Bobby Bolt. And when they first said it, I thought they said Bobby Fulton, which I was really going to like because I really like Bobby Fulton of the Fantastics. This was another match that didn't go on too long. Out of the crowd, Billy Joe Travis appeared and attacked Wolfie D, causing another disqualification for Wolfie D to pick up the win. Afterwards, Billy Joe Travis goes over to commentary, who I forget what the two guys were. It isn't Dave Brown or Corey Macklin, or definitely not Lance Russell, just two randos there. Billy Joe Travis talks about for the last year and a half being in rehab, and it's because he was hanging out with Wolfie D, and Wolfie D got him hooked on drugs. He brings out Bill Dundee again, who they talk about teaming up with each other to go up against PG13. Bill goes a little far here, says he hates Wolfie D, hates Wolfie D's parents. He hopes Billy Joe Travis kills Wolfie D. A little bit off the deep end, but a good promo nonetheless. Bill Dundee is pretty good at these type things. For all that, because of the Billy Joe Travis and Dundee promo, which was better than the first interaction, I'm giving this segment a 4. Next up, we have representing the Nation of Domination, Shaquille Ali, aka Tracy Smothers. If you're not familiar with this, Nation of Domination in Memphis was totally different than the one in the WWF, and there were some crossovers like PG13 and such. I believe D'Lo Brown did some stuff in Memphis, but they had their own thing going on there under the same name. Shaquille Ali, aka Tracy Smothers, is going up against Brian Christopher. This is probably my favorite match of the show. I mean, how could it not be? You have Tracy Smothers and Brian Christopher, two outstanding wrestlers going up against each other. Brian picks up the win with a quick roll-up pin after we see the Spellbinder, who is now going by Elijah, who again is part of the Nation of Domination, and he calls Brian Christopher over to the announce table, talks about them being friends, tries to get Brian Christopher to join the Nation of Domination instead of wrestling him. Brian Christopher declines. He says, I'm probably just as strong as you, even though you're much bigger than me, which sets up an arm wrestling match, which in the middle, Spellbinder attacks him, beats down Brian Christopher. For that, I'm giving that segment a 4. Like I said, this is my favorite match of the show. The interaction with Elijah, aka the Spellbinder, and Brian Christopher. If you hear me call them by their more common names, just understand that's just what I've known them for 30, 40 years. For that, I'm giving that a 4 again. I thought it was probably the best segment of the show, and definitely the best match of the show. Next up, we have a promo with Jerry the King Lawler, talking about how his car got the rim stole off of it in Memphis, and shows a picture or video of it. Talks about his house being broken into, and this is why Memphis is losing people, and people are wanting to move out of Memphis. Eventually, it leads us to PG13 coming out with a guy called the Gravedigger. I hope this picture does it justice, but definitely, if you don't go back to watch this video for anything else, go back and watch this. This looks like somebody went to Spirit Halloween on October 30th, 5 minutes before the store closed, and grabbed the last costume they had left. And that's what it came out as. This is, in so many words, terrible. It's hideous. It's embarrassing in a lot of ways. And I know we're kind of talking about the dying days of Memphis at this point, and it didn't have much to stand on, but they could have done better than that. Going from that, we get a promo interview with the real Double J, Jesse James, aka the Road Dogg. This was in his transition from being Jeff Jarrett's roadie to being his own character, and then eventually morphing that into the Road Dogg. As he's talking, Mike Samples comes out, which leads us right into a match with Jesse James versus Mike Samples. Jesse James picks up the win on this. Afterwards, Mike Samples pitches a fit, which the GM, Elliot Pollock, and I've never heard of this guy before. I don't remember him one bit, came out. For all that, I thought that was all pretty decent. Lawler was awesome. The absurdity of the Gravedigger. Jesse James cutting promos. Jesse James is an awesome promo guy. Mike Samples, pretty good, underrated guy. I'm giving that segment a 4. Next up, we have a video for the oncoming Truth Commission. And this is just an extreme close-up of the Commandant talking about the Truth Commission coming in. It doesn't show any of the other members. I've mentioned these guys before and how much better I thought they were in Memphis than in the WWE. A lot of people may remember them from WWE. Like I said, we're getting to the point where Memphis was on its very last legs and they were trying to do anything, and sharing some talent with the WWE and guys that were going to be in WWE kind of helped them a little bit to keep going for a little longer. After that, we get a promo with PG13. Pretty good promo, probably better than what we seen in the beginning with JC Ice's promo. I enjoyed this. I like PG13. For that segment, I'm giving that a 4. I thought the Commandant video was pretty good. If I rate it without saying what I know happened with the Truth Commission, it's better because it was a good lead up to whatever is going to happen if I didn't know what was going to come. And it's hard not to think of it knowing what came of it. But it was a really good, menacing video. And PG-13 did an awesome promo here. After that, we get a promo segment with King Reginald, aka Reggie B. Fine, who again is part of the Nation of Domination. It's a theme throughout the show. He brings out his queen. They mention her name, I forget what they said. That leads us right into a match with Elijah, aka the Spellbinder, going up against Stephen Dunn. The same story as with all the matches in the show, except for Jesse James and Mike Samples and Brian Christopher and Tracy Smothers. PG-13 and Tracy Smothers, aka Shaquille Ali, come out and attack, basically causing the disqualification. For that, I'm giving that final segment a 3. I thought it ended up on a pretty sour note. I kind of understand the point. This is sort of what the NWO was doing around the same period, where the NWO would pretty much interfere in every single match, but it doesn't make it good. Even when the NWO did it, it wasn't that great. It wore itself out rather quickly. Overall, I think the sum of the parts of the show bring it down than the show itself. There are segments that are good, but the whole show started to become the same thing over and over and over again and played out like a rusty trombone. It wasn't great, and it was like a low-rent version of the NWO. For that, I'm going to give this a 3. Probably a skippable episode, except for Jerry Lawler and the Gravedigger. Please watch that for the absurdity of it. But other than that, pretty much a skippable episode, in my opinion. But they all can't be winners. Sometimes you have to have mediocre shows like this to remind you how good some of the other ones are. With all that being said, let's smash that like button, share the video, subscribe if you haven't, and if you made it all the way to the end, let me know you made it to the end. Let's put Gravedigger in the comments, and we're not talking about the monster truck, which is a lot better than what this guy is. If they would have brought the monster truck in here, it would have been awesome. Who doesn't love Gravedigger? The monster truck, not the wrestling. And all that being said, my name is George Coles, and we've been walking in Memphis.